In today's fast-paced world, nearly half of all American workers at 48% say they struggle to prioritize their fitness because of the demanding jobs they hold. Meanwhile, 61% of those surveyed revealed that they feel too exhausted as a result of their schedule to exercise. And more than half stated that their desk jobs leave them mentally and physically drained, even when they set aside time to work out and prioritize their health. All of this according to my friends who participated in a recent one poll. These statistics reveal a growing challenge facing professionals everywhere. How do we maintain your health when your career demands so much of your energy? Well, in this episode, I sit down with my friend Matt Myers, the general manager of Nerd Fitness, in order to answer some of those pressing questions. We discuss practical and relatable strategies for overcoming workplace and workout fatigue and building fitness routines that work in the real world. Nerd Fitness was founded in 2009 and has grown from a niche fitness blog to a robust and global fitness community online. With over 300,000 monthly visitors and over 50,000 satisfied clients from coast to coast, equipped with a team of credentialed coaches helping busy professionals achieve lasting results through personalized fitness programs, nutrition outlooks, and programs. Myers shares his personal journey from being an intimidated high school student in the weight room to becoming a respected coach who helps busy people prioritize their health despite their busy and packed schedules, family life, and responsibilities, and their demanding careers. As a father of 5, a certified coach, and a former American Ninja Warrior competitor, Myers understands firsthand the importance of efficiency, consistency, and mindset when it comes to fitness success. And he joined me this week to tell me more. I'm Kevin McShan. Let's have this conversation. Matt, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program. And I'm super excited to learn how you help busy professionals prioritize their fitness. It's great to see you, and happy Wednesday to you, my friend.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, Matt, I wanted to start by asking you, what do you think is important for busy professionals to prioritize their fitness? And when people come to you and say, I don't have enough time because of my busy work schedule to prioritize fitness, what's your response, buddy?
Yeah. Well, I think there's two parts to that. The first part is, why is it important to prioritize your health and fitness? I think for a business professional, really for anybody, right? Is because this is the one body we have, right? And we want to try to take the best care of it that we can. I also think I have seen with the entrepreneurs and the managers that I work with that when they do a better job taking care of themselves, it often trickles down into other areas of their life. They have more energy to pour into all the other things that are important to them. So I really think of fitness as being an amplifier of all the things that they want to do, not as an end goal. I think a lot of people within fitness, like fitness becomes a status symbol, or the you're just trying to become fit to be fit, and you kind of it kind of gets really narrowly focused on like weighing a certain amount, or being able to bench press a certain number or whatever. And those things are cool. But the thing that excites me more is how we can help people develop these healthy habits that enable them to show up more for the job, the people, their family, their friends, and have more energy and health to pour into those things. So that's why I think it's important. The second part of your question was, what do I say when people say they don't have time, right? And they come to me and they're like, I don't have time to focus on this.
Yeah.
The first thing I do is empathize, and just say, I get it. Like, the one thing that we've noticed in our coaching is that everyone is stressed out and busy all of the time.
Yeah.
I don't talk to a single person that doesn't feel like they're juggling 10 different things at once. And that you don't have to, fitness doesn't have to take over your life to be a part of your life. So it doesn't have to be something that, it's not a zero-sum game. I think a lot of people come into fitness with an all or nothing mindset, which is that either I'm going to be all in and I'm doing this like really intense workout plan and getting to the gym 4 times a week for an hour, and I'm meal prepping and planning and I'm doing all these things, and that's kind of the image of fitness that they have in their head. And what I try to encourage them is that we can find little pockets of time that are meaningful, without it having to completely trash your entire schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt, just before I ask you about nerd fitness, I know for you, you have a personal connection to fitness because in high school you were intimidated by the weight room, buddy. And I know your wife had some health concerns or challenges that really helped you to inspire this work. So tell me about your personal connection as well, my friend.
Yeah. So, yeah, I work for a company called Nerd Fitness. I'm a coach for Nerd Fitness. I've been a coach for 15 years. And I really started out feeling really intimidated by the gym, not feeling like comfortable in the gym or knowing what to do. Or, I was a nerd, as the name might imply, from Nerd Fitness. And what I found in the gym, once I had someone to kind of walk me through it and not feel so overwhelmed by it, was a place where I could improve myself, focus on some self-care, and really gave me a lot of confidence. I think that's one of the things that people underrate with any kind of fitness routine, is that showing up for yourself that way can give you a lot of confidence. My wife and myself have both dealt with some serious injuries as well through high school and into the workforce, college, and in the workforce. I've dealt with really crippling back pain off and on for a decade, brought on through some injuries while playing sports in high school. My wife just recently broke her ankle, so she's dealing with this whole process as well right now. But yeah, I would say the big thing for me is that I wanted to, once I learned how fitness could build confidence, but also make me feel more capable and able to do all the things that I love to do, whether that's play on the floor with my kids or go out and hike a trail or anything else. I really wanted to help other people find that. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I know that's kind of the concept behind Nerd Fitness. I know it's an online community and it started as a fitness blog that you now help people through one simple idea that fitness doesn't have to be intimidating and the sustainability of your health is accessible to everyone, my friend. So tell me about the concept behind Nerd Fitness and what you want people to know about it, my friend.
Sure. So Nerd Fitness was started by our founder Steve Cam, who um, uh, just was looking around and just felt this was 16 years ago, so early days of the blogosphere, and he didn't see people helping others like us, like people with desk jobs who love nerd culture. They love games, books, and movies, but they also know they need to make healthier choices in their day to day lives. And so he started writing about his own fitness journey. And that's really evolved over time. It started off as a blog. Now uh, we've evolved into a coaching program. We help people with one on one online coaching. Um, Figure out, workouts, nutrition, mindset, make fitness not intimidating and make it actually work in their lives. And I also want to say, just as a note here, that for us, and you don't have to like any certain type of thing to be a nerd, right? For us, nerds just mean people who are passionate about their interests. I coach nerds who love Marvel and Dungeons and Dragons. I also coach nerds who love gardening and getting outdoors. I coach nerds who love to golf and play sports. Like whatever you're passionate about, we're excited that you have that passion, and we want to help you pour back into that passion with what we work on. So ultimately, at Nerd Fitness, you don't have to look a certain way or like a certain thing to have a place here. That's the point. We want to help you find a sustainable way to fitness that feels good for you.
Yeah, and Matt, I also wanted to talk to you about the relationship between, fitness and business performance because I
Yeah.
know that you've observed that fitness and business business performance often mirror each other, buddy. And I'm curious to ask you your opinion on the correlation between fitness and business performance. How do you think they're interconnected, my friend?
Well, I think there's two key ways. One is that the same cycles that you go through in your business, I think, are the same cycles that I see people go through in fitness. So the first cycle you go through is you're faced with a new problem in your business, whether you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do with marketing? How do I set up this system within my business? Whatever else it is. And the first question you ask yourself is, what do I even do? There's so much information. There's so many different people telling me I need to focus on AI marketing. I need to focus on this thing. I need to focus on that thing. And it can be overwhelming, and you have to figure out what is actually going to work for me in my business right now. And I get the exact same questions from people who come to us from a fitness perspective too, right? They've read about every single diet under the sun. They see all these different workout programs and influencers and people online saying you need to do this or that, and they're overwhelmed and unsure about what path will actually work for them in their life. So I think those two things mirror each other. We mirror each other also when people really struggle with building consistency within their fitness routine. And we see the same thing with businesses. They struggle to build consistent systems that are repeatable for them. In order to build a successful business, you need to have systems in place. And in order to have a successful fitness routine, you need to have systems in place that work for you. And you need to be able to see return on your efforts. If you are doing something in your business and it's not getting you closer to your goals, that's really frustrating and overwhelming. And it's the exact same thing in your fitness. If you are putting in all the effort and you don't feel like you're more in shape or stronger or seeing any progress, it feels really, really bad. And so it's interesting. The same things that I have used, the same systems I've used to solve for the fitness side of things, I've also been able to apply and help people on the business side of things with how are we approaching and tackling these different phases. So that's one way in which I think that the problems actually are kind of universal problems, both within fitness and within business, that we solve for. And then the second thing is that you go through cycles in your business where things are like super stressful and you feel like you're burning the candle at both ends and you're really overwhelmed or overloaded. And when that happens, one of the first things to go is self-care, right? People stop focusing on you're grabbing whatever meal you can throw together at 10 p.m. at night, just like on the fly. You're probably not taking time to get outside, take a walk, do any form of exercise. Your sleep can suffer. You're really, really, those things are intimately tied together. And it's kind of the paradox is that during those times of high stress is probably the time where you need self-care the most to help you navigate through that really intense period in your business or your life. And it's the time when we give ourselves the least amount of compassion and room to do those types of things, to do those self-care things. So I found that if I can help business leaders who are feeling really crunched by deadlines, I have a client, Leslie, who works in the video game industry and is crunched by deadlines to get the game released on time or to have different elements of the game done on a certain timeline, and can easily get swept up in focusing all on work and not taking time away. And when she does, she starts to feel like crap and she knows that her productivity goes down and she doesn't feel as good. And so I try to help her still block out these little pockets of time to make sure she's getting up and stretching and getting water and getting good food in. And when she's able to do that, she's seen that that actually helps her perform better at work and feel better when she closes her laptop at the end of the day and work is done. So yeah, I think that the problems are universal and the same between business and fitness in a lot of ways, and that periods of high intensity in your business often affect your fitness in a negative way, which just is a feedback loop to making things harder everywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Matt, I believe in the saying that we make time for the things that we prioritize. And as you know,
Yeah.
Matt, I have a disability. I was born with cerebral palsy, and if I don't exercise and work out, I lose control of my muscles faster than most people. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to ask you about rethinking accountability, because I know at Nerd Fitness you go beyond traditional coaching and you really have a personal relationship through with your clients through texting, my friend. And I'm wondering if you can tell me about why that's important and your whole philosophy on rethinking accountability in today's modern age. What do you think that means, my friend?
Yeah. I think I keep feeling like I'm giving you two answers, Kevin. Every time you ask a question, I have 2 points that I want to say. So I'm gonna try to fit two things in here really quick again. The first is that yeah, we've found that communication works really well with texting, but also through video messaging. So like recording a video of myself talking and sending it to someone, especially nowadays. I think in the age of AI, seeing another human face is still really meaningful for feeling that sense of connection and accountability. And so we wanted to figure out, how do we work with people who are scattered all over the world. We work with people, we have worked with people on all 7 continents, including Antarctica, right? Because we have an online coaching program. We worked with a weather researcher on Antarctica. So we got all 7 continents covered. How do we help people all over the world still develop a personal connection and relationship with them, but know that like their schedules are variable? They're not always going to be able to go to the gym at the same time or meet with a personal trainer at the same time. And they're going to have questions that pop up like, later in the day, earlier in the day. How do we provide more continued support? So it's not just, hey, I show up to the gym a couple times a week and my personal trainer is there. How do we provide more continuous support throughout the week? And we found that this messaging, just text messaging, video messaging, and knowing that someone is there for you throughout the week has been really powerful. The second piece of that is that accountability also looks different for everyone. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is they think that accountability just means that you need someone to like yell at you to like go do push-ups or whatever, right? Like that's the vision of accountability, is this kind of drill sergeant, coach or trainer. Whereas what we've learned in talking with people and in coaching people over the last decade is we have to match our coaching style to the accountability that actually matters for that person. And some people do need you to be really direct with them, but others need you to be really encouraging. That's going to be the thing that helps them stick with it. Other people need you to explain your reasoning. Why is this important? Why did you write the workout this way? Why are we focusing on this nutrition habit? And if you can explain the why, then they feel really bought in and they're going to be able to stick to it better. Some people need you to redirect them, and some people need you to tell jokes to help take their mind off of whatever stressful thing they're going on. And if you can tell a joke and make it the process fun, then they're able to stick with it. So for me, accountability is more about what is the type of communication that helps you stick. It would have worked by now because we are all our own harshest critics. So yeah, I think if we've found a really cool pocket in the digital space with communicating through text and video with people that in a way that really helps. And we've learned that we need to match our communication style to the type of accountability that's actually going to work for that person. And when we do those two things, we're able to help people really see progress on their goals.
Yeah, and I know one of the things you wanted to talk to me about was something that you call at Nerd Fitness the pause button trap, my friend, because you say one of the most common stories you hear from people is they'll focus on fitness once a project is completed or their workload is lightened.
Yeah.
And we talked about it earlier, but I wanted to give you your space to talk specifically about the pause button effect and how you help people calm down their emotions to prioritize their fitness and also be productive at work. What are your thoughts there, my friend?
Yeah. So yeah, the pause button trap is something we see all the time. You might have experienced it too in some area, which is that I'm going to come back to this once things settle down. Right? I'm going to come back to my fitness once things settle down. I'm going to start working out again once things settle down. And the problem is that what we're doing is practicing that anytime things get hectic, we pause. We hit the pause button rather than just changing our expectations and changing what the plan. And what we see is that often this can lead to people being on pause with their fitness for weeks or months or years because life doesn't ever really truly settle down. Life is really good at throwing you curveballs and keeping you on your toes. And so we want to help people move away from this idea that fitness is either an on or an off switch, where either they're on and they're doing fitness or it's off and they're paused. and instead think of it like a dial. Like sometimes I'm going to have more time and energy and space to be able to dial up my fitness efforts to a 9 out of 10. And I'm going to be doing longer workouts and I'm going to be going for hikes and stuff because I enjoy it. And other times you're going to be in a really intense period of life and I'm going to dial it down to a 3. That doesn't mean I stop, but it means I might be doing much shorter workouts or workouts that I can do at home, so I don't have to have the extra time to drive to the gym. Um, that ability to pivot from this on and off switch thinking to dial is really where I see people unlock long-term sustainable fitness in a way that feels really good to them. And the danger people have when they try to switch from this mindset of like either I'm all in or I'm all out is that I think people tell themselves that if I'm not all in, then it's not worth it. If I can't work out an hour 3 times a week, then working out 15 minutes a few times, like twice a week, does that even do anything? That doesn't even matter. And nothing could be further from the truth. That effort still matters. And you can build a lot on very little. So we try to help people find that right level for where they're at in their life right now. And if we can help them do that, it can have some really big impacts for them.
Yeah, and that also goes into your zoom out and zoom in framework. My friend, will you help people feel less overwhelmed? So tell me about the framework and what you want people to know about it.
Sure. So another part of making progress within your fitness is, I think, adapting a mindset of zooming in and zooming out. What this means is most days are zoom in days. They are days when we are focused on doing the things that we need to do that day, which means what's my workout for the day if I have one? What are my nutrition habits I'm focused on? And I want you to be laser focused on just doing those things. What happens is often people get stuck comparing themselves where they are right now to where they want to be. And the distance feels very far. And so they feel very demotivated. They're like, oh, I'm not in the shape that I want to be yet. It's so far to go. I don't know if I'll ever get there. And constantly comparing themselves to the end goal actually steals from their effort and focus that they can do to do the actions they need to do that day. So instead, what I introduce people to is, hey, I want you to zoom in now and focus on these to-dos for today. And then every couple of weeks, you and I are going to zoom out. We're going to step back and we're going to ask ourselves 3 questions. We're going to ask ourselves what's been going well, what's been hard, what's been a challenge, and what adjustments are we going to make? And I help guide that process, and we guide that with their coaching process. But if I can get them in that rhythm where we have periodic check-ins to check in on the bigger picture, but then in between, we're just focusing on putting our head down and doing the tasks that need to get done, then I know that we're going to be able to help them build habits in the long run. So that's a really key part of what we do, and helping people see consistent progress on their fitness goals. And if this was like the Matrix and I could just download my brain into someone, I would try to give them that lesson to practice zooming out, stepping back every few weeks and evaluating, and then zooming in and focus on doing the things.
Yeah, absolutely. And you all, to that point, you also said there are 3 common roadblocks that people often come to you with, and we talked about some of that in your last answer. But I'm curious if you can tell me what those roadblocks specifically are, and your recipe to help people come up with answers to solve them, my friend.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so those three roadblocks are kind of what we talked about before. People need to have a plan. They need to know what to do. They need to know how to stick with it because the best plan doesn't matter if we can't execute it consistently. And they need a way to evaluate whether they are making progress. And if they're not, that's like a super frustrating place to be, right? So I think we've built our coaching program and our thinking around how do we solve these three things for people, and the how do you know what to do? That kind of like being stuck in analysis paralysis. I actually think that the most important thing is to ask questions. So I want to know uh, where are you starting from? What kind of equipment do you have available? What's your schedule like? What are your fitness goals? What does, on the nutrition side of things, what does a typical day in the life of eating look like for you? What foods do you love? What foods do you hate? There's not a one size fits all prescription here. And I think the more we can ask some questions rather than think, what is the right plan for me, and feeling overwhelmed by the number of options out there, start by asking questions about your life, and then we'll be able to find the plan that works for you, right? Because you'll have some clarity on what's going on. If all you have access to is a body, you don't have access to any equipment, all you can do is work out at home. Well, that already gives us one thing that we can look for, which is like at home body weight workout routine. Okay, cool. Do you have any injuries? Yeah, my shoulder's kind of messed up. Okay, we need an at home body weight workout that pays attention to your shoulder mobility. Great. So this is how we think about building a plan for people: is can I answer these questions and around fitness, nutrition, and mindset? What are the typical things that are a challenge for you when you start a fitness program? For example, one of my clients, Josh, he had noticed a pattern that he would be really great with his workouts and nutrition for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he would fall off and struggle. So like he's like, I keep doing these 3 week sprints, and then I can't make it last longer than that. So when we worked with him, we actually built a plan specific for that third week. I was going to check in a bunch of different times. We knew exactly what we were going to do if he started to feel stressed or frustrated. So what workouts would look like, how we were going to tackle that week. And we planned from that from the beginning. And he was able to get through that third week that had normally knocked him off course. And now he's been consistently working out for 2 years. But it was just about building that plan from the beginning. So that's the build a plan phase. The how do I stick with it? We kind of talked on this before. If we can learn how to dial things up and down rather than turn the light switch on and off, if we can have a workout plan as well as kind of your backup plan for a day when you don't have a lot of time and energy, I think that's really awesome. Finding the system of accountability that's going to work for you is really important. And setting yourself up, making it as easy as possible so that you can rely on systems rather than motivation. Because a lot of people, when they struggle with consistency in their fitness, what they say is like, I just have a hard time staying motivated. And what I want to try to teach people there is that motivation is awesome, but it also comes and goes, and that's totally normal. There's nothing wrong with you that you're not like rah motivated all the time to do workouts. So what systems can we put in place to make it easier for you? As an example, if you want to try to eat more fruits and vegetables, having a bowl of fruits and vegetables out on the counter in plain sight is going to make it easier for you to eat fruits and vegetables than if they're buried in your fridge behind everything else in the fridge, right? So how can we make that process easier for you? And then finally, how do we see consistent progress, and so that you're not feeling like you're putting in all the work and you're not getting anywhere? If we can help people track their effort, like what are the things they're doing, their workouts, their nutrition, whatever that is, and their results, we can get a really good picture of what they're doing. I think the other thing is that we need to help people set tangible targets of what progress looks like. So if we can draw a roadmap for them of like, hey, this is the next step, this is the next goal. And then doing that zoom in, zoom out framework. I think those are kind of like the key pieces to overcoming those three challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also, through your health and wellness framework, challenge people to look at fitness not as an investment, but as an investment that creates greater energy, clarity, and resilience, as well as capacity, my friend. So tell me about
Yeah.
the framework and why you believe it's important to view fitness from a resilient and capacity perspective, my friend.
Yeah. We call this health wealth. And the idea is that um, a lot of people feel like fitness is a chore. It's something that they have to kind of like keep up with, but it's not really what they prefer to be doing. They want to prefer to be working out. They prefer to be playing video games or going out on the golf course or spending time with their family or anything else. And so we try to help people think of fitness more like an investment. And when you're able to uh, build up your health wealth, uh, it's about building sustainable fitness habits that are going to serve you the rest of your life. So it's not taking time away from things. It's an investment in your current health and in your future health, with the goal of being just so that you can focus more on all the things that you enjoy and love to do. When we were in had a client who was going overseas to Scotland to go on a hiking trip. And he just realized, oh my gosh, I've been working on all this fitness stuff. I've been working on my workouts and my nutrition. And we went on this trip and I never had to, I could just go on these hikes. Like I got to go do these cool hikes and I wasn't worried about, am I going to be out of breath or can I do this hike or whatever. I have other people where playing on the floor with their grandkids, not as a chore, but as an investment in all these things that you want to be able to do, it can kind of help reframe that whole process for you.
Yeah, and Matt, I'm also curious to ask you about resilience and burnout. You know, so many
Mm-hmm.
executives say and encourage their employees to prioritize their health and wellness. And just like children, you know, employees often model the behavior of their own leaders. And if they neglect their own health as a leader, it's kind of counterintuitive to the point. So, talk to me about
Yeah.
burnout, resilience, and why do you think leaders have a disconnect between what they tell their employees to do from a health and wellness perspective and as opposed to the behavior they model? What are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah. I mean, I've experienced this myself. As I started off as a coach for Nerd Fitness, and then moved into like a coach management role, and now um, uh, general manager overseeing all operations at Nerd Fitness. As you take on more and more responsibility, uh, I think you feel a sense of responsibility and obligation to be um, focused on helping everyone else on your team, often to the detriment of protecting your own space to take care of yourself. I could feel this especially early on. I would, employees took holidays, but I would not take holidays. Right, I would just keep working. And I think a lot of that came out of that sense of wanting to be a good leader. But what I realized was I was actually modeling the opposite of what I was trying to encourage people to do. Right. So if my team sees me working on a holiday, even if I tell them take the holiday, I want you to focus on your family and your and time for yourself. they're going to feel pressure to follow my lead, right? And not be able to take that time away. And ultimately, those practices of not being able to put work down, not being able to step away, not being able to set healthy boundaries for yourself, do lead to burnout, lead to not being able to be effective at your job anymore. So that was a hard lesson that I had to learn as I grew in responsibility and became more of a leader within even our team. And I work at a fitness company. I literally work at a fitness company, and I struggled with it. So I think it's very normal for people in leadership positions to feel like they are under a lot of pressure to perform and need to kind of like put the business or their employees before themselves. And we're not saying like just ignore the business or ignore your employees or anything like that, right? But some basic self-care practices, I think, go a long way. Making time to move regularly, making time to nourish your body with healthy foods, making time to step away from work and close the laptop and like have time where you're not with your family, but still thinking about work, right? Like being able to separate those things, I think is really important for leaders to model for everybody, for their own longevity and for the health of their business and for their employees.
Yeah, and man, I believe that when you talk about fitness, and I know that you believe this as well, that small habits are repeatable performance, my friend. So tell me, I'm curious to ask you this two-part question. What small habits do you think busy people can implement when it comes to their fitness journey that'll let them see sustainable results? And I'm wondering for yourself personally, if you could go back to your younger self in high school and throughout your fitness journey, what's one piece of advice you would give yourself, my friend?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's three habits I would give you actually that at some point I feel like we use with almost everybody. And they're gonna sound probably almost too simple, and that's the point. The first is introducing something we call movement snacks. And movement snacks are not like food snacks; they're actually like tiny movement breaks throughout your day. Research has shown that what really matters is the total amount of movement you get in over the course of a day or a week. It doesn't it doesn't have to all be in like 1 hour in a gym. That's like a one way to package it. But it could also be spread out with, hey, I'm going to do 10 push-ups off the countertop after I brush my teeth, or hey, while this show I'm watching is in commercial break. I don't know if people even get commercials anymore because of Netflix and stuff. But if the show I'm watching is commercial break, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do 10 squats, or I'm going to do a stretch on the floor while is really impactful. So that's one place I'll often start with someone, especially like what you were talking about earlier, Kevin, with people who feel like they don't have time to work out. Figuring out how to take these little movement breaks is really, really impactful. The second one is from a nutrition standpoint, which is not maybe what you'd think. My first nutrition habit that I often work with people is plan your next meal. I'm not even telling you what the meal is, but I want you to be proactive about what it's going to be. So, Kevin, for you, do you know what you're having for dinner tonight?
Leftover chili.
Leftover chili. Boom. I love chili, by the way. That sounds delicious. So the fact that you already kind of have a plan for your dinner means that you've moved from a reactive mindset to a proactive mindset within your nutrition. Mm-hmm. And that is the foundation to everything else. Like whether you're planning to go out to eat, or whether you're going to grab something from home, or you're cooking something, you're planning to prepare something. If we can get you to start planning ahead, we build from there, and we can do lots of cool things to help you towards your goals with that. And then the final one, small habits that I think create really big results, is a practice we call notice and name. And this is more on the mindset and behavior change side of things, which is helping people recognize when they are stuck in a pattern and they call it out. As an example, I had a client who she was feeling super stressed at work. She felt like she was relying on stress eating a lot, right? Because she was just like, I'm stressed at work. When I'm stressed, I go grab a candy bar from the break room and I eat it, and I'm not even hungry. I'm just stressed. And the practice we introduced was literally, okay, when you feel that, all I want you to do is just call it out. So next time she was stressed, like a coworker would come by and tell her something stressful, she would just say to herself, I'm really stressed right now. My coworker just told me something that wasn't fun to hear, and I can feel that what I want to do is go grab a candy bar. And just even practicing that pattern recognition in the moment, again, a lot of these are about moving from a reactive, like I'm just doing the thing because it's my habit, to proactive, okay, I'm recognizing that I'm stuck in this pattern. And that gave her an opportunity to start practicing rerouting that behavior. So those are 3 small habits that anyone could do. We could practice getting some movement snacks in, little movement breaks throughout the day, plan ahead for what your next meal is going to be, and notice and name, call out any patterns that you see yourself stuck in the moment. It will give you a chance to start rerouting those habits.
Yeah, and the second part of that question was, if you could go back in your younger fitness journey, what lesson or advice would you give yourself, my friend?
That's a great one. I think so. I have two answers for this again. The first would be from a fitness perspective. So, like for my own personal fitness, which would be, I would continue to tell myself a little bit goes a long way, and that if you experience an injury or a setback or anything like that, it will get better over time. Just trust the process of continuing to show up, not necessarily like pushing through pain. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like when I had back pain, I had to tell myself, okay, it's okay. This is going to heal. I just need to continue to show up and do what I can do. So I guess the easiest way for me to say that would be start where you are, use what you have, do what you can.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things. From a coaching perspective, the thing that I learned, what I would give advice to my younger self is that communication is everything. If you can learn how to relate and communicate with your clients, that's going to set up everything else. All the specialty certifications I did for kettlebells and barbell training and all that stuff was all great. And it's helpful to know, but how I actually help people isn't by tweaking their kettlebell technique. It's by communicating with them and understanding them. And so I would have spent way more time focused on how I was communicating as a young coach rather than focusing on the like technical aspects of coaching, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and just because I'm interested, I'm going to ask you one final question before I ask you my final question. And,
Sure.
and that question is this, Matt. I'm curious to get your perspective on dieting versus consistency. And before you answer, I'll give you sort of a pretext to this question.
Yeah.
So many people focus on dieting as a New Year's resolution or getting into shape, and or they commit themselves for like 3 weeks and then they fall off the wagon, and then life continues. So I'm curious, in that context, what's your perspective on the prospect of dieting and making a resolution and focus on your fitness versus the overall consistency of the whole operation. What are your thoughts there, my friend?
Yeah. The way that I think about it is because I've gone back and forth on this actually in my career. I used to be, most people start off like learning about dieting and trying to help people through diet. And then later on, they're really believe in the power of the consistency model, like you're talking about there. I think they're each just tools. And we need to learn when to use the right tool for the job. So I have some people who they have been stuck in that cycle forever, where they go on a 3-week diet, they fall off, 3 to 6 months later, they try again, they fall off, they try again, they fall off, and they just feel like they've yo-yoed back and forth forever. For that person, I don't think the dieting tool is working very well. I think that they need to take a different approach, which could be focusing on building sustainable habits over time, small changes building up over time, consistently changing their diet so they're not changing everything at once. They're slowly stacking wins up over time, and that's the right approach. However, that doesn't mean that I think like short-term, like a short-term sprint is necessarily bad. I have other people who they have a really solid foundation of habits, and they say, "Hey, I actually have this goal of maybe it's a weight-based goal or like some other thing that they're trying to hit a certain weight for, like a wedding coming up or a competition that they're going to be a part of or whatever, and they want to see a little bit faster progress, and they know it's a focused effort." And we go in eyes wide open. Hey, we are doing this for this set amount of time. This is what we're shooting for. And and we know that this is going to be harder, but it's worth the trade-off. It's worth the trade-off to you right now. And so if you can approach it as which tool is right for the job, you're going to have way more success. And I think one of the big mistakes that people make just in general with dieting is that they're really focused on the diet and not what happens when the diet is done.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm done with that diet, like
Yeah.
what's the next step? And if instead you're like, oh, I'm going to go on this diet, and then afterwards I'm going to transition into this maintenance phase, and that's going to look like these habits and these things that I'm going to hold on to, they're way more likely to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And my final question is concerned about your own personal and professional legacy. When your career is over in the fitness world, or even if I asked you to write the first line of your own eulogy, my friend, how do you want your legacy to be remembered, and what do you want people to remember about your impact you made in the world, my friend?
I would say, people are already juggling a lot. We kind of talked about that in different ways, whether you're a business leader, whether you're a parent, or whether you're, a caregiver or whatever. You have a lot going on. And fitness shouldn't be one more thing to feel bad about. Fitness can be a fun, sustainable part of your life without taking over your life. It can be additive. So if there's any kind of lasting impact or legacy that I have, I hope that when people work with Nerd Fitness or work with me, they feel like they got the big warm hug of the fitness industry. that we helped them change their mindset and their approach on how they were thinking about fitness and how they were approaching fitness, so that fitness became an additive part of their life rather than a stressful part of their life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Matt, finally, tell me, if people want to get connected with their fitness or yourself personally, my friend, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, check us out, nerdfitness.com. On the homepage, you'll see a welcome. We have a little form that you can fill out. Tell us what you're interested, where you need help, what you're looking for, and it will direct you to the right people and the right resources on our website. So really, if you just go to nerdfitness.com, it can direct you to free workouts, free nutrition stuff. It can put you in touch with a coach. We're here to support. So just head that homepage and fill out that little form, and we'll reach out and help.
Well, fantastic, man. I really enjoyed this conversation as someone who prioritizes their fitness and has a busy schedule myself. I think you're doing great work, my friend. I want to thank you for the good work that you're doing to make America a healthier place in the world at large, my friend. And I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with me this morning. It's most appreciated.
Kevin, thank you so much. You came up with the best series of questions. They were tough questions. The best series of questions I feel like I've ever been asked on an interview like this. So appreciate you and the diligence that you put into the work and research ahead of time, and really challenging me to explain my thought process. And I really appreciate it. And thank you for your time.